Greetings from me and my double chin and my bathroom because this is the best lighting that I have. So, yeah, we're just gonna hop right into it. I wanted to make a video about my NCLEX experience, everything, the whole NCLEX process, whatever. Um, so for starters, I know that I have not posted on YouTube in a super duper long time. And I know the last video that I posted, I was like emotionally distraught and like going through it. That was my hell semester. And that semester was hard. But I haven't really been like able to record a video because right after that I was in my last semester, and like any free time that we had, literally it was being bombarded with like lab, clinical, simulation, workshops. Like we were constantly doing stuff. And then I also had my capstone or my preceptorship hours to do as well. So I was just super duper busy and boggled down with stuff. So just to hop right into it. So I graduated from my BSN program on May 8th. So I successfully completed my BSN program, which is awesome, and I'm so happy to be done with that shit. Um, so in order to take your NCLEX or to register or schedule your NCLEX, you have to receive your ATT or your authorization to test, which is basically just an okay from the NCSBN, I believe, saying that you graduated from an accredited or, basically like you graduated from an accredited nursing school and you graduate from school. And it's done after you graduate because your nursing program, I'm not sure how they do it in other states if you have to send off your transcript yourself, but for us, our nursing program sent off our completion of our degree to the Board of Nursing in order for us to receive our authorization to test. So your authorization to test, you receive it in an email. Before you graduate, you should have a day where you go and you register for NCLEX and apply for your license and apply for all of that stuff, and you pay for all of that. So you already have paid for your NCLEX. Now you just have to receive your authorization to test to register for it. You receive it in your email because you've already made your NCSBN and your Board of Nursing account, right? So you receive your email with your authorization to test, which is a code. You go on the NCSBN, you put in your code, and then you schedule your NCLEX. So pretty much for me, the same day we graduated on the 8th, I believe that Monday by the 10th, either that Monday or Tuesday, I think it was that Monday, we had our ATT. So I literally went and scheduled my NCLEX like on my phone, is within like a 15-minute time frame of me getting my authorization to test. I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The closest testing center to me is in Raleigh, but I chose to test in Wilmington, which is about 2 hours away. It's by the beach. So I picked my testing center, I picked my time, and I had originally chose noon for my test time. But by the time I clicked submit, they were like, oh no, this is no longer available. So literally that fast, somebody had snagged that spot. So I was like, shit. So then I go back and I was adamant on testing in Wilmington because I just wanted to. It's a smaller testing center, and I felt like it would just take a lot of pressure off of me instead of being in like a super big room with a bunch of people. I felt like that would be more intimidating. So I went back and they had another time, which was 7 a.m. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, I don't like this time. So I went back and I looked, and like none of the other dates were good. They were either like super duper far out or super duper like, I don't know, like just inconvenient, not what I wanted. So I chose to take my NCLEX on May 26th. Which is super early. If you're a nursing student and you're watching this right now, or you recently graduated, you know, they usually suggest that you wait anywhere from like 4 weeks to like a maximum of 6 weeks before you test. I only waited like about two weeks. after graduation to take my NCLEX because I was just so over it. And if you have seen my nursing school journey video, which I will link below in the description box so you guys can watch that, you will understand exactly why I was just like, fuck this, I want to take this NCLEX like right now. So I scheduled it and I was like, oh shit, it's real. So that's definitely like a suggestion that I have. Once you get your authorization to test, I definitely think that you should just schedule your NCLEX, because if you know what day you're taking it, I feel like it's easier for you to kind of like plan your studying, and it makes it real. Like it makes you be like, oh shit, like I'm really doing this. Like I really got to do this. So I went ahead and I scheduled it. Um yeah, it was a really early date. It was a ballsy decision. But that is another thing that I'm gonna say. Like, like I said, if you feel like you are ready to take your NCLEX when you graduate, do not let anybody talk you out of it. If you feel like 100% sure you are ready, then at the most give yourself like a week or 2 weeks, but take it and get it out the way. I personally wanted to take mine early and get mine out of the way so I could enjoy at least 1 month and have a summer before I started my job. So I start my job July 19th. So I was like, if I take my NCLEX in May, I can just go ahead and get it out the way and like have June to do absolutely nothing. So that was my reason. So scheduling was pretty interesting. It was interesting to look on the NCSBN to see kind of how sporadic the times were. And I'm not sure, if that's because of COVID, but if anybody has ever bought concert tickets or like thought you had like a certain area in the auditorium or in the arena to sit, and then you like try to like submit it on Ticketmaster and then it's like, this is not available. Like that's how I felt scheduling for the NCLEX. But other than that, I did get everything scheduled. So I had my date. It was May 26th. Cool. The first week after graduation, I should have been studying. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't suggest anybody do this. I did not study that well. I was just kind of like being lazy and like sleeping in and not really taking practice questions and just kind of like chilling. And then like the next week before I actually took my NCLEX, I busted my ass. Being honest and transparent, I only busted my ass and like studied as far as like practice questions for a week. I did it for a week. And I did about an average of like 200 questions per day. I used Kaplan. And as far as reviewing content, I did review some content. Like I reviewed like fluid and electrolytes, and I reviewed IV solutions. I reviewed like your heavy hitters like Addison's and Cushing's, diabetes mellitus, diabetes insipidus, SIADH, DKA, HHS. Like I reviewed those like heavy hitters that I felt like, okay, I'm definitely gonna see a question about this. But as far as like hitting the material super duper hard, I didn't really have time to do that because I scheduled my NCLEX so expeditiously that I needed to go ahead and just like dive into the questions. So I was taking about 150 to 200 questions a day on average. I would take them in 75 question testlets. And then Kaplan also offers like these NCLEX sample tests, which I found to be very helpful. They have one that's focused on alternate question alternate format questions, like ordered response questions and fill in the blank questions. And they also have a prioritization one that's focused on the types of questions like who do you see first, those types of questions. So I found those to be helpful as well. So this is what I did. I would wake up whenever I woke up. I was super chill about it. As long as I did what I was supposed to do, it didn't matter what time I did it. It just mattered that I did it. So If you want to stay on a schedule and be more strict and wake up at like 8 o'clock in the morning and do it, that's fine. For me, I wanted to sleep in. So I probably would get up at like 10 o'clock and drink my coffee and work on it and then take a break. So I would take my 75 questions, I would look at my little percentage, and then I would take a break. So I think like the first one that I took when I first started, I got like a 49% on it, which is like, okay. And then as I started taking more, I was trending up. So I went from like a 49% to like a 52% to a 56% to like a 61% to like a 69%. So it was going up, which is good. So what I would do is I would take the questions, I would take a break, and then after I took a break, I would go through and look at the questions that I got wrong. Not only the questions that I got wrong, but the questions that I got right, but that I wasn't 100% like sure how I got it right. It was just like a luck thing. And I would make little notes to myself about things that stuck out to me so I wouldn't forget it. So, and then I started noticing trends with the types of questions that I was getting wrong, like ordered response questions. Um, I was getting some of those prioritization questions wrong. I was having issues with delegation. As far as like on the NCLEX, like LPN scope is like so limited. And if, they say you can't use your real life, like clinical experience to help you on the NCLEX because like everything that the NCLEX is saying the LPNs can't do, I've seen them do in the clinical setting. So it was confusing me. So I literally had to like write a note to myself like LPNs can do this to help me with delegation. And I noticed that when I started getting those questions, I was able to pick out those key words that would make a patient like unable to be delegated to the LPN because they were a new admission and that they can't do admission initial assessments and that they can't do teaching, so you can't give them a discharge. I was like, wow. So just things like that, I started noticing like where my knowledge gaps were and also the types of mistakes that I was making with my test taking in just a short amount of time. Like I said, I literally only went hard for probably like a solid 8 days. I will not suggest anybody else to do this. This is just me. It's just me. I work better under pressure. I realize that about myself. If I feel like there's some fire under my ass, I'm probably more likely to work harder than I am if I had scheduled my NCLEX further out. I probably still would have waited until the absolute last minute to do what I was supposed to do because I would have told myself like, oh, you have time, you don't have to do it. But this is just me and my personal choice. Anyways, so NCLEX test day comes up and it is the 26th of May. And so since my test time was at 7 a.m., I'm sorry, y'all, I keep like moving. Since my test time was at 7 a.m., I had to be at the testing center at 6:30. I went to the testing center the day before when we got there because we spent the night in Wilmington. My parents went with me and went up there and like talked to one of the ladies at the front desk, just like asked her questions about like, oh, where can I put my stuff and things like that. I suggest doing that. If you are able to do that, I definitely suggest like going to the testing center. If you have to drive far, Wilmington's 2 hours away, so we just like we're like, okay, we're gonna spend the night because my test was at 7 a.m. So we would have literally had to like leave Fayetteville at like 4 a.m. That just would have been so much stress. So if you are gonna spend the night before you do your NCLEX, then I definitely suggest if you get there in a decent time before the testing center closes to go to the testing center, ask some questions and look around so you kind of get familiarized with how the testing center looks. I go in the day of testing. Of course, because it's COVID, I'm wearing a mask. They have like a little COVID thing on the door they wanted you to read before you go in because it's like, if you have these symptoms, blah, 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 blah. Go in. They give you rules of the test. You have to read over them when you're done doing that. You hand that back to the person at the front desk. Um, excuse me. They scan your palm like several times. I think both of my hands. I can't remember. I was so like nervous. They scan your palm and then they take a picture of you. Okay, they take a picture of you. You go, before you go into the actual testing center or testing area, if you wear glasses, they make you take your glasses off and like put them, it's crazy. You pat yourself down, they look in your ears. I mean, they like literally check you. If you were thinking about cheating on NCLEX, good luck, because there's no way in hell you're gonna get away with it. Um, so they have you do all of that. They scan your palm again before you go in the actual testing area, and then the proctor escorts you into the testing area. You go to the testing area. They give you your little, like, it's not a whiteboard, but it's kind of like a laminated piece of paper, and then your dry erase marker, and then boom, like they log you into the computer, and it's time to take the NCLEX. So I'm taking the NCLEX, I'm on there, I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, oh my god, like I'm going like super fast. Like there were some questions that I was just like bloop, answering them. I don't know. My motto is like, if you don't know it, you don't know it. You could sit there for 30 minutes and stare at the question. Um, like, you know, you can sit there and stare at it, whatever, but like if you don't know it, boo, like you're not gonna know it, and you staring at the question and sitting on the question is probably gonna make you more anxious than if you just were to skip the damn question. Remember that the NCLEX is an adaptive test, so like, and I was talking to someone today, another fellow nurse was saying, like, you know, as long as you're still getting questions, you're still in the game. So think about it like that. If you get one question wrong on the NCLEX, a couple questions wrong on the NCLEX, big deal, whatever. You can still pass. It's not that big of a deal. So just let it go. Just move on. Go to the next question. So I look up and I'm like, it had only been like 30 minutes, and I look up and I'm like on question like 45. I'm like, oh shit, like I really need to slow down. Then I keep going. I get to question 75 and it doesn't shut off. So at this point, I had like mentally prepared myself to pretty much take like the full 145 questions. As you guys know, like they did change the NCLEX, so the minimum is 75 and the maximum now is 145 instead of the previous 265. So I had prepared myself to take 145 questions. The computer shut off at 87 questions, and I was like, oh my god, I just failed. I really felt like I failed. I felt horrible. Like I was so stressed out about this that I gave myself a headache. And on the way back home in the car with my parents, like my mom was like talking about it, and I was like, Mom, like I don't want to talk about the NCLEX. Like I was so distraught. I felt like my life was over. I didn't cry, but I really did feel like really bad. Like I really felt like I did bad. I felt like I had failed. Like I was like, oh my god, like ah. So of course, you guys know this is like everywhere. It's on TikTok, it is on Pinterest, it's on YouTube. The Pearson View trick. I tried that shit. So they say you're supposed to wait until you get the email from Pearson View to try the trick. So I waited until I got the email. I went in at 7, I finished at like 8:10. I get the email and then I try the Pearson View trick. It says your results are on hold. So I'm just like, okay, maybe it's too soon. I tried it 2 hours later. Your results are on hold. 2 hours later, your results are on hold. My results were on hold all day Wednesday, all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And I called Pearson View. I called the board of nursing. I was like, what is going on? Why are my results on hold? Like, because after the 48 hours had passed and I didn't have my results, I was like, oh, hell no. Like, you know, there was another classmate that took hers the same day as I did. And she passed. Oh my God. Congratulations. And she took hers like at noon. So I was like, oh my God, why don't I have my results? I was like freaking out. I'm like, why are my results on hold? So I still hadn't had my results. I get an email Monday on Memorial Day from Pearson View saying that my photo biometric, or the picture, the photo that they have you take when you take the NCLEX, didn't save to my profile, and I needed to go to a nearest testing center to retake this picture, and that's why my test results were on hold, and that once I took this picture, they were going to release my results. So I was like, oh my God. So I get up June 1st, go back to Wilmington. They say you don't have to go back to the testing center that you tested at, but I just prefer to go back to that one. And then I have like, like familiarity with the area. So I was like, let me just go back. I went back, I took the picture at like 11:30 that morning, and I got my results a couple hours later, and I found out that I passed on the first try with 87 questions. So I was so freaking hyped. So when I was like putting in my information for my card to pay for the quick results, which is $7.95, ridiculous, just more money from us, right? I put in the information, I hit submit, and I just literally like shoved the phone in my friend's face, and then she just started like smirking, and I was like, oh my god, did I pass? And I looked and I passed. So that was so awesome. Let's see. And so by as of today, or June 4th, because whenever this uploads, I got my official email from the North Carolina Board of Nursing with my license number. So I am officially an RN. So I'm super happy. So just a little sidebar, the Pearson VUE trick. It did not work for me because my results were on hold. And I know some people are like, oh, okay, well, that was a good thing, but not necessarily. You know, your results can be on hold for many different reasons. I've heard some people say theirs were on hold because they took their NCLEX super fast, which is why I thought mine was on hold, because I went through those questions in like an hour. I've heard because the palm scan didn't work. So it was all types of like reasons why your results can be on hold. And it is not a Pearson VUE trick result. It can mean anything, and it does not mean that you passed. You could have failed, and they just need to verify whatever they need to verify. Cool. Also, just another sidebar. So my mom's a nurse, and she graduated from nursing school in like 81, I believe. Yeah, back in the day when they took the NCLEX, just the FYI, it was written, and it was 2 days, all day. And you got tested on every subject that you had. And it took them 8 weeks to get their results back. Yeah, and you could only take it every 6 months. So I just want to put that in perspective. I would have been going insane. I was going insane for those couple days just to get those results, but it ended up working out. So I'm super happy. But I am at about 20 minutes now, so I'm gonna cut this off. But if you guys have any questions or anything, want to know anything, you can always comment down below. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. I have to say that, right? And then also I'm going to put my social media in the description box as well. So if you want to follow me and connect with me on there, then you are more than welcome to. I hope this video was helpful. I am so sorry that I'm recording in my bathroom, but I did want to get this video up. And thank you guys for watching.
So I just want to insert a clip from my pinning ceremony and also mention that I put a lot of effort into manifestation and visualization during this time. I feel like that greatly helped me as well. Okay, bye. Thanks for watching.